Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 23rd December 2016. The first article, it is Art of the Non-Deal. It is in the context of recent comments by the President-elect Mr. Donald Trump on One China policy. Now, let us understand some brief background of this. Here we need to talk about what is One China policy, 1992 consensus, what is the role being played by the United States over here. If we see the events, we have to trace them back to 1949. When the Chinese Civil War was about to end, the Chiang Kai-shek, he has fled to Taiwan and he declared that that is the real China. And he started calling it as Republic of China. And then the mainland China is being called as People Republic of China after the Maoist revolution. Now, both of them subscribe to One China policy. The Taiwan says the mainland China is part of it, and People Republic of China also says that Taiwan is a part of it. It means there is One China policy which has been agreed by both the sides. After the Chinese taking away or People's Republic of China is formed, United States and all the Western countries, they still continued their relations with Taiwan and they agreed to the arguments of the Taiwan. Now, in 1970s, there is a situational change where the diplomatic relations are being established by United States and other Western countries with the People Republic of China. Because of this, the One China policy, what it says is, any country which if it wants to establish relations with China, it shall not establish or have any diplomatic relations with Taiwan. Other way round, they shall not recognize the Taiwan as a country to have diplomatic relations or engagement with China. In 1979, America has recognized or re-established the diplomatic relations with People Republic of China, and also it passed a law, that is Taiwan Relations Act. It means though it do not recognize the Taiwan as an independent nation, it still considers it as an independent administrative unit and continues the military cooperation to Taiwan. And in 1992, there was national consensus or 1992 consensus it is famously called as. Now let us see the Deng era in China. During the Deng Xiaoping era, there is he proposed for one country, two systems policy. It means that Taiwan can have its own administrative system or democratic system, but both of them will be considered as one country. But Taiwan is opposite to this. But however, they want to take forward the economic relations. So today it is one country and two interpretations or two selective interpretations, that's what it is forming. It means there is one China policy both the countries will agree to, but they will have their respective interpretations what constitutes to be one China policy. But economic relations will go irrespective of the political relations between these two. Because of this, around $60 billion of the Taiwan investments now exist in China. Trade and other economic relations have got deepened between the two across the Taiwan Strait. Now, in this scenario, we have to see the One China policy. So, 1979 onwards, most of the countries, they started recognizing the China, and then they severed the relations, diplomatic relations with the Taiwan. And Taiwan has to come up with different names to participate in various international agreements. If you come to Taiwan, there are two parties over here. One is KMT, the other one is DPP, Democratic Progressive Party, Kuomintang. Now DPP, it wants or it preaches for Taiwanese independence. The KMT talks about greater integration, economic integration with China. So, the greater economic integration has led to excessive Taiwanese dependence on China. It also has led to recent sunflower movement or sunflower uprising in Taiwan. So the DPP, it did not endorse 1992 consensus and it is preaching for the greater independence. The president of Taiwan, she belongs to DPP. And she called to President elect Trump to congratulate him after his victory. And then Trump also has tweeted that the one China policy has to be bargained for better trade deal with China. Now, China considers any disturbance to one China policy is an issue of interference with its sovereignty. So, in this context, the US has brought in a great balance with its relationship with China and also with Taiwan. It can be popularly described as strategic ambiguity. It means it continues the military cooperation with Taiwan and the strong trade relations with China. But if this strategic ambiguity is disturbed today, it is not going to be good for US, Taiwan, and China, three countries, because China is not ready to accept any of hindrances or any of bargain on its sovereignty issues. And the conflict which comes in trades, it may spread over into the South China Sea. And the entire region will get destabilized because the South China Sea is the major channel through which energy and trade flows to East Asia and also Southeast Asia. So, any disturbance in one China policy will destabilize the entire region. That's what the author talks about over here. Now, if we carefully consider when Bill Clinton era, during the Bill Clinton era, what happened is when missiles are being deployed by China against the Taiwan after the Vietnam War, that was the greatest show of the military strength by the United States. Now that is what is the thing which has happened. So it means US is able to protect both its interests in Taiwan and China with one China policy, and it was evolved carefully over a period of time, and it got the bipartisan support. So the any action by the president elect Mr. Trump on this issue will have grave consequences for the world. Now, a little gain after more pain. It is about demonetization drive. In this case, the three objectives which are stated are to fight the black money, corruption, counterfeit currency, and terrorism. In this case, to what extent did we, came to these goals? Did we achieve these objectives? The first thing is our narrative has started changing from this to the other way, that is to create a less cash economy or a cashless economy. Now, in this context, India is unprepared to be a digital economy. So, initially, that objective was not stated. And second, the government has expected that at least 3 lakh crores of the benefit will come to exchequer, as more than 25% money may go undeclared. But to its surprise, more than 15 lakh crores has come up into the banks now. It means that there will be no advantage of the demonetization. Now it is compelling on the ruling party to prove that the demonetization is successful. So the ongoing IT raids signify this. Then where the leakage is, the money has to go through the banking system, and obviously there are many leakages in between, and it has become very easy for the black money holders to transfer this money into the new currency. And second thing is, most of the black money in India is not in the form of the cash, but it is in the form of land and gold. And the third thing is, the money is within the banks, unaccounted money is within the banks. There are many loopholes in the banking system and also income tax laws. So the tax avoidance is very easy in India. So there is a difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. So legally, if we are able to avoid the tax, that do not come under the black money. So there is scope for the tax avoidance in the country. Now coming to the next article, a gathering crisis in Poland. Now you don't need to remember much about this. So let's see the European Union. It has got the countries which are part of the West and also part of the East. So the Poland, previously part of USSR, now it is a part of European Union. So the systems, the cultural factors, history, everything is different in these countries compared to the Western Europe. So in this context, the democratic institutions which are being created in Poland, they are under severe strain under the new regime. So the independence of the judiciary, rule of law, free speech, media, everything is being curtailed. So, in this context, European Council it has given an order to the Poland asking for its correction of the system within the 2 months or lose its membership. Let's come to the perspective page, that is doing the right thing. In this, let us see what are the grounds for the Indian diplomacy till date. One is strategic autonomy, national interest, morality. So, if you talk about non aligned movement, it is about strategic autonomy. Now, how India responded during Hungarian crisis, it is based can be explained on the basis of national interest. And then India's response to the Suez Canal crisis, the morality has preached. And also India's response in Somalian crisis or Rwandan crisis, everything is based on morality. Now let us understand, when the Hungarian crisis was going on, India has supported Soviet Russia over there. So, in those circumstances, how can we explain this? Because the democratic government or democratic uprising was thrown away by India. So, there is a person by name that is, Metas Rakosi. Metas Rakosi. So he was the man of Mr. Stalin and heading the Communist Party in Hungary, and it has overthrown the popular uprising over there. With iron hand, Soviet Union was able to bring in the communist regime in Hungary. So India has supported the Soviet Russia, and it has faced a huge embarrassment, and India's moral stand in other issues was questioned. Coming to the Suez Canal crisis in 1956, the Israel, now let me say, Mr. Nasser, Egypt president at that point of time, he has nationalized the Suez Canal and asked for the Britain military to move away from that. As for the Anglo-Egypt agreement in 1936, I think, so the Britain military has to safeguard that. So against to this, Israel, UK, and then France, they invaded the Egypt. So in this situation, Eisenhower, the President of United States, has given a warning to all the parties about the economic sanctions. Finally, the crisis has ended. And at the same time, the USSR President, Mr. Nikita Khrushchev, he has clearly stated that it can lead to a nuclear war. Finally, it has ended, and Egypt has got the rights over the Suez Canal. In this case, India has supported the Nasser's nationalization of the Suez Canal based on the morality. So, now in the ongoing Syrian civil war, which took more than 4 lakhs of lives, India is not intervening at all, or India is not even making any statement at all. So, the compassion grounds on which India has conducted the diplomacy with regard to the humanitarian crisis is been losing now. That's what the author expresses the anguish at. Now coming to impact of unusual selection, it is about recent appointment of the military chief. Now in this case, seniority versus merit. Now, let me see, according to democratic accountability, it is the civilian government which can determine who can be the military chief. As of now, we are following the seniority, and then, now based on the merit, the superseding of the two senior people have occurred in appointing the present chief. So, the argument is, whenever we have to go through merit, we need to define what is merit, and then how the people have to prove the merit, transparency in determining the merit process, and the merit criteria need to be clearly laid down. So, without doing anything, if we are prescribing the merit as a guideline to appoint the chiefs, ultimately it leads to political patronage in the appointment of the military chiefs. And military also gets politicized as like the police force. That is the anguish expressed by the author over here. Let's go to the next page, the news page. There are no much important news today. Now, note ban will spike inflation, that is economists. Especially in the rural India, the anguish is growing now, or else we have the greater problem in the rural India. That's what the parliamentary committees are talking about. And then coming to the Trump and Putin and their voice against the nukes. US nuclear weapons are getting outdated, And President Obama has approved for $1 trillion modernization program, which Trump assured that he will be carrying forward. And added to that, Russia is also becoming more assertive and increasing its military capabilities. So Russia and United States reapproachment is necessary for safe nuclear world now. So coming to the notes. So let us see the questions. What is one China policy? So you all know that the one China policy is about recognizing both the Taiwan and mainland China as one single nation. And both the Taiwan and China they talk about the same. And then we have 1992 consensus. So one China policy can be subjected to their respective interpretations, but economic relations have to be deepened between these two countries. What is Taiwan Relations Act passed by the United States? It provides for the military cooperation between US and Taiwan. And then what is the Trump's recent statement? This is what we talk about. And then doing the right thing. So in this we discussed about Hungarian crisis, Suez Canal crisis. And then I just gave a new thing, that is do you know series today. So in this Suez Canal, it connects the Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea. And Suez Canal crisis 1956 was a question for river mains 2 years back. That's why I just try to go through that because all these are important issues happened after our independence and these have reflected our diplomacy till date. So that's why you need to understand those things. Please try to go through these questions and answer to yourself in your own words. What do you understand by these questions, or else what do you understand by watching this video? So this is what the work which makes you to develop your own opinions. Thank you very much and all the best.